Hi everybody, it's Donna, and today I'm going to be arguing, is the United States overreacting to the coronavirus outbreak? I'm first going to do the affirmative side, and my first claim is how the United States citizens specifically are overreacting because they're focusing more so on stocking up on items. There's an unnecessary shortage of toilet paper, bleach, sanitizer, Clorox wipes. People are more so acting as if there's like an apocalypse going on more than there is an actual pandemic. I remember I was in Florida visiting my sister when the whole outbreak came out, and we just needed to go to the grocery store to get a couple of things, and the line was like out the door and the shelves were completely wiped out. There was really not much for us to get. It was just full on chaos and panic. Grocery stores are now putting a limit on some items, and even food producers and supply chain managers have said that there usually is enough food on shelves in the warehouses and on the production line. The real issue is getting the food out to the right places once the local distribution centers have wiped out. So the reasoning behind this is people are valuing more on stocking up, whereas they need to realize that not all people can just get their items at once, and there are people who really do need these things. Like, for example, I don't think toilet paper really has an impact on this outbreak. Like, I don't really think the shortage is, like, that's unnecessary. And as of right now, the coronavirus is continuing to intensify, and companies that are providing food and items for America are going through labor shortages also. We're leaving people without enough workers to manufacture, deliver, and unpack groceries for the next couple of months. So we just have to be aware of those types of things. And then my second reasoning to this is social distancing and quarantine. The stay-at-home and mandatory shutdowns that the government has placed on us, that's forcing people to work from home and making students have an online education. The issue behind this is that they keep extending the dates for people to stay in quarantine. This means that you have to stay in isolation. It raises a lot of concern and doubt for some people, and considering the estimates of like the fatality ratio in the United States, for this outbreak, it's a 0.5% to 1%. This is lower than the seasonal flu, and with this type of rate, locking down basically everything can just lead to a financial and social consequence. The common cold in general has been known for decades, and that causes a fatality up to a rate of 8%. Even college students who had to evacuate campus have been complaining that they're more likely to infect older adults, like their parents, grandparents, who are at risk at home than when they were living in college housing. We don't know how long these social distancing and quarantine measures are going to take place, and I think that's the real problem behind this. And so a lot of people are taking extreme measures, and even the government itself, and it's just raising a lot of concern. My third reasoning as to why the United States is overreacting is how they're canceling schools, businesses, and events. I do think in this time right now, since it is going on, it is what had to take place. That was the initiative that they had to take. But when you take students out of school and you order them to stay at home with their families, it increases risk of infecting older people. There are also a few reports of children getting sick with the virus or even getting the serious symptoms. The worldwide cases are 100,000. Even with the unemployment claims, it raised from 1.6 million to 3.28 million. This is historically the biggest rate that we've had, and it's 5 times greater than that 1982 global recession. The unexpected outbreak has shocked so many and created stress in capital markets, and people who work, and with students who have to do their education online, and the months of canceling events and businesses and schools, this could disrupt and just ultimately cause a collapse in capital formation and labor participation and productivity growth. So schools have to outweigh the benefit of the closures and realize that how will parents be able to take off work? How are children who depend on the school meals be having enough food at home? And exactly how long is the faculty going to have to leave, like not work? Not even that, schools allow kids to have hands-on interaction and care, and this is like socialization for them. So it all just raises a lot of craziness and panic for them, for people, for citizens in general. Now I'm going to be doing the negative side as to how the United States is not doing enough to the coronavirus outbreak. My first reasoning is that how there are not enough beds, ventilators, and testing. There are currently 12,700 ventilators stockpiled, and the country may not have enough ventilators considering how the virus is spreading so quickly. Even the swabs that are needed for testing are due to a shortage. Those are different than Q-tips. It's needed to go like up in your brain and stuff. And hospitals are having a hard time getting those types of swabs. Even their Harvard projection showing that 50% of all currently occupied hospital beds were emptied, and the percentages of Americans infected had to be cleaned out and emptied. The country would need at least 3 times more beds to care for everybody. So there's not really enough beds and ventilators and care, so I don't think like we need more of a solution for that. The solutions kind of have been how there are local distilleries trying to make their own sanitizer using a recipe from the World Health Org to help communities, and even ventilator companies are trying to team up with car manufacturers to produce more, but they're not certain to like if they will fill the demand in time. So also we have to raise awareness how cost is an issue behind this. But for example, New York, as of March 24th, New York, which is the highest, the current epicenter of the outbreak, they need 30,000 ventilators, and we don't have that right now. But yeah, so this is having shortages medically and financially, so I think that there needs to be more hands-on care with that. My second claim is how we're not able to protect the elderly and prisoners, especially when the vaccine isn't being found, like it's not fast enough to find a cure for the coronavirus. A vaccine can take at least a year or more, which is a really long time, especially for people to stay at home or stay away from people. There are currently 37 correctional systems suspended all visitations from people. People who are incarcerated still can get the virus. That's the issue. And the most effective initiative that they're taking is for prison officials to release those early incarcerated people who are sick. Even in elderly homes, there's not enough personal protective equipment. Even the hands-on care is at risk. There are currently 1,700 nursing home residents infected with the virus, and more than 20 have died. So these risks are serious, especially now they're trying to advise like family members to pull the residents out if it's possible. But my third claim is how the employment rate has become so high and how the education system is going down the drain. People are still valuing education and trying to, take something for their job, like losing their jobs. And right now, more than 10 million Americans are seeking assistance after losing their jobs. And to get an unemployment check, you first have to apply. But that's an issue for a lot of people right now. So far, 6.65 million Americans have filed for a first-time jobless claim check last week. And there are severe economic consequences of this social distancing requirement. It's shuttered business down and homes. People are forced home. Even the $2 trillion stimulus package, that's the one that offers the $600 per week to residents. It's just hard to get that and file for it right now. There are also currently 1.5 billion students out of school, and hundreds of them are attempting to learn online. That becomes really hard with the aspect of learning. Students are not focusing on their health and well-being, but they still have to learn an education and have one when times are so stressful in this outbreak. Even with the learning experience online, are you really learning? Because you have to do it for yourself, you're held accountable, but it's still a whole process that they have to do. So it's a hands-on experience that they have to do, and students can't really get that when they're studying from home. So those are a couple of things that, as to why I believe the United States citizens in general are overreacting, or as to why the United States is not doing enough. But I hope everyone's staying safe, and thank you.